little bit earlier for Redskins Training Camp Weekly, but I just started the feed already on Facebook Live. So be sure to come on and check us out because we're streaming live. Appreciate all the questions and comments we had the last episode. Hopefully we'll have some more of the same engagement this time. I'm sure Robbie will probably get a chance to share the link for us. But DujunneaB, we had supposedly the big game of the preseason, the game 3 that's supposed to be the dress rehearsal. The team's supposed to look crisp, supposed to look sharp, look like they know what they're doing. And in my opinion, the Redskins didn't look like that in any way, shape, or form. I know we were all watching Adrian Peterson. I know it was vanilla game plan. I know they were feeding him the ball to see what he had. But there was no consistency at all. The starting offense, 3 and outs, can't get touchdowns. Defense couldn't get penetration, couldn't get to the quarterback. A lot of whiff tackles. Basically, the Broncos were ready for regular season, and the Redskins were still in week 1 of preseason. What are your initial thoughts on this game? Let's talk about the first-team offense first.
They look lethargic. I don't want to say unprepared. They just looked like they weren't interested. And there were definitely some miscues, and they seemed to be able to run the ball fairly well. Alex Smith took a sack. The drives they could not sustain. Those are all big issues that have to change. Again, the red zone issues that carry over from 2017. The third down conversion, they were 9%, ladies and gentlemen. 9% on third down in the game. That's horrible. I thought Adrian Peterson, if anybody's interested and wants to know what's left in the tank for that guy, I think he made it very clear. Anybody who's watched and understands football knows that he still had that left. You can look at the stats all you want to, but there were some. But the same, there really wasn't a good gelling for him in that particular offense, and he had some good games with Arizona, but their offensive line was inconsistent and not nearly as good. So he definitely showed what he has when the offensive line gives him holes to run through and what a running back should look like. Again, thought Rob Kelly, you almost have to say the guy is at least a consideration for a fumble candidate. Doesn't too much hesitation in the hole, not enough aggressiveness, which you saw from Adrian Peterson in attacking the running lane. So again, not much to take from the game. It was pretty bad on both sides, and I think the injuries have something to do with it. Guys are a little concerned about getting injured, and I would think that someone would say, hey, okay, yes, they're concerned, but if you're concerned about being injured, then you increase your chances of being injured, and I would agree with that, but it's definitely showing, and that presser that Jay gave late early in the week, and then after the game, you can see the complete let's move on to regular season. I'm trying to protect these guys because we can't afford to lose any more bodies on this team.
Yeah, I'm not going ready to throw Jay under the bus. I'm not going to, I know it's preseason. Like we mentioned the injuries when the training camp first started, we was hoping that it wouldn't take the same trend as last season. It hasn't really, but there's been some key injuries that have affected this team going forward. You mentioned the offensive line play. I can't say I was mad at the offensive line play. It could have been better. But, Adrian Peterson was doing his thing, like you mentioned, that burst, the hitting the hole and going, and not the hesitation and the jump steps or the choppy feet that as you mentioned about Rob Kelly. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see how this offense gels together. Now, we know I saw a little miscues between Vernon and Alex. They was trying to get some of that chemistry back together with them. I saw some things I liked from the offense, but saw a lot of things from the play calling, that is, and saw a lot of things that I didn't like. But let's go to the tight ends and the wide receivers. Did anybody stand out to you in either one of those groups that made a statement that game, even though they didn't score until the fourth quarter, actually touchdowns? I mean,
I think you see the potential that they have there. I believe it's Sammy Cobbs Jr., the guy that stands out to me. I don't think he's going to make the active roster. He'll probably be a practice squad guy, but he showed he's not fast by any means, but he has the ability to go up and get the ball at highest point. He has the ability to catch balls in traffic because, hey, let's face it, the guy is not quick. He's very slow. And with that being said, he's able to shield himself a little bit, even though the defender's right there. I thought overall, though, the first team offense, those guys were decent. Could they have played better? Yes. But again, I feel like guys are very concerned about making it to the regular season. And I know Redskins fans are concerned about the injury, but I will say that no one's feeling sorry for you because there's teams that are facing 10 times worse. It's nothing like it was last year for this team. It's just, you get tired of it being every year it seems that someone is lost. But it's the thing across the league. I mean, take a look at Marquise Lee out for the year for the Jags. And that after that game against the Falcons. So it's happening to a lot of teams this year. And I think it's if you put the league together in one basket, there's a lot of injuries that have been suffered across all 32 teams that could be deemed as critical for their team. So this is why you can say you have preseason games and training camps to evaluate and put the right 53 guys on the roster. So, but again, I think they're going to get together once they game plan. And I don't like to say, well, it wasn't a game plan, so this is why the way they look. Of course, you're going to get blowed up a few times because you're not game planning or scheming for whatever their defenses are, and you're not targeting a specific person on the defense like a Von Miller or whatever to take him away so that you can have success. So I will say that, but yeah, they just at times it didn't look consistent enough in those areas. Consistency has to change, and I think it will. Showed in the first two preseason games, although we still have the issue of the team is good in between the 20s, but their red zone percentages are not very good. They are 2 of 6 in the red zone. That's not going to cut it on any level, and you can't win ball games kicking field goals. That's for sure.
We definitely know about that. So hopefully they can get these issues remedied with the red zone. They've always been effective in between the 20s, but yeah, for some reason they can't punch it in. Hopefully with AP on the roster, he knows how to get the ball in the end zone. Hopefully Jay, gives him the ball or gives someone the ball in a 3 tight end set or a jumbo package and start letting these guys run the ball in the end zone instead of these fades and screens and trying to throw the ball in the end zone all the time. But I guess I'll say that again.
Just to touch on that a little bit, Carol.
Uh-huh.
I agree with you, but even this year, they actually have players that they can actually throw that route to. Like, the only player they've had since Jay's been here that's capable of doing that has the height, was Jordan Reed. And how much has he been on the field? So, I mean, yeah, when you're throwing fades to guys that are, under 6 feet, that's preposterous. But when you have a Dobson now, you have a Richardson, and you have some of these other guys, these young guys, that are capable of going up and getting the football, that's a possibility. But yes, when you got an AP, when you got an offensive line and the guys that have improved at blocking and tight end, you've seen that this offseason. You should be running the football, but I do think that they have the ability to be able to do and run some of those fades and routes out there now because they actually have the height. And I think Josh is going to be better this year in coming down with football as well.
I definitely agree. I agree that they do have the bodies now, but we're all going to remember the infamous fade to Ryan Grant to try to win the game, one of the shortest wide receivers on the team. I just don't like the play because he calls it too often. Now, if they can get some rushing touchdowns to make defenses play honest, then you can throw that fade as a surprise instead of, oh, we know Jay going to the fade. Let's just play quarters and make sure we knock it down. So it's going to be a learning process. We know they didn't want to put anybody out there to get injured. It wasn't no game plan, but I'm definitely anxious to see Jay's run-pass ratio this year because I've been tracking it since he got here. And I wrote an article before he got here, and in Cincinnati he was at about a 54 to 46 run-pass ratio. Now, since he's been here, it's about a 68% pass. That beer is acting up with me right now. To a 32% run, and I don't know any team that's been successful doing that except for the Patriots, and we know this team is not New England. So let's go to my favorite side of the ball, which was kind of disappointing for me to watch. That was the first game that I actually got to watch the defense from the first snap that they played until the last snap, and I was very disappointed in our starting first team defense because I saw no penetration. Now I know Denver's offensive line is one of the tops in the league, and they go against one of the top defenses every practice, so that makes them one of the top lines. But I saw no consistent pressure. I saw no domination on the line. I mean, Payne, he had a couple of plays. Allen, he made a couple of plays, but it was only here or there. There was no consistent push. There was no consistent domination to shut them down. And on the little run by Emmanuel Sanders, that was horrible tackling, horrible execution, and just plain old horrible. And it was like they weren't ready to play this game. I'm hoping that, as you said, they was just trying to stay healthy, yada yada yada. But as a third game of preseason on, this is your last game that you're actually going to get real quality snaps before the regular season. I was very disappointed in the first team defense. Is there anything that can make any sense of the way that they played or the way that they looked against this Broncos offensive line?
Not really. I mean, there's really no excuse for it. Again, I've said it. I've said it before. I really think there's a huge concern with Jay, and he has a right to be concerned. And I think that concern has spilled over into the team. Fortunately enough, none of those guys had to play this week. But I think that was a concern. But that's not an excuse for piss poor tackling.
Mm-hmm.
They allowed way too many big plays. Go back to, and you'll find this article later in the week on SportsJourney.com. Way too many big plays. And it looked like 2017's defense all over again. They were awful on third downs. They were awful in stopping the run. I believe it was like 146 yards of rushing yards. And they believe in the first half, I tweeted out that they were at 7.4 yards per play. All unacceptable. John got picked on a lot, although he was in position. He was in no position to make a play on the ball or to come away with it at all. like tackles, guys bouncing off, and watching Freeman going for a touchdown, watching Emmanuel Sanders bounce off of, 6 players, get into the end zone. All of those things are unacceptable. And you look at the second team defense, and some of the guys who try to make this roster, it's the same thing. A lot of missed tackles, a lot of broken plays, and it has to be tightened up. The good thing is that 2 previous games, this defense looked quite scary, and I still think that's there. For whatever reason, though, they were not into this game at all, and it was definitely clear that Denver was out to put in the work and wrap it up. So it seems like Washington was wrapped up before they ever started putting in work.
Yeah, that's definitely what it looked like from the starting offense, the way they started going 3 and out. It just looked the same way the whole game until the rookie quarterback came in and had some fun in the fourth quarter when nothing really counted. But talk about the linebacker core. I'm still wondering how this core is going to be, because I know the front 7 is going to be very key. I'm wondering how they're going to do the lineman, who's going to be, I think Settles has, when he gets in there, even though it's against the second and third team, he's been an impact player at the nose along with Payne. So I'm interested to see the rotation that's going to come out of this, after the final cuts and everything. And with the linebackers also, I mean, Mason Foster and Zach Brown in the middle, I kind of like it, but I'm still not sold on Mason Foster's coverage ability. I'm a delve into the linebacker. I got to break down the defense a little bit. We really ain't delving the defense too much. But do you think this linebacker core is going to be able to take control of these games with the personnel that they have, not knowing the final cuts or whatever? Do you feel satisfied with the talent that they have at the linebacker core, that this front 7 is going to be able to cause some havoc this year, along with the front line with the new play, the Alabama duo that we got on the DL now?
Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. These guys are from top to bottom, and if you haven't caught Lake Lewis's 53-man projection, you can catch that on SportsJourney.com as well. And I like what he has there, and that's pretty much what I see with having Ryan Anderson, Zach Brown, Mason Foster, Sean Dion Hamilton. You'll have Josh Harvey Clemens, Ryan Kerrigan, Pernell McPhee is on the pump right now, Preston Smith, and Marshall Spate, and Zach Vigil. All those guys, with the exception of Preston. Preston was out of position and got burnt by the guy coming out of the backfield for a big play.
Little wingback.
I thought he was too far inside too. Sorry.
I was saying the little wingback play, the little wheel route. Yeah, I specifically remember that play. He took that one step inside, and dude was gone.
Yes, and but I believe they can cover. You look at a guy like, I think Josh Harvey Clemens is totally underrated. Now I've been on this guy since he's been here. I watched this kid play in high school.
Did we lose you, DujunneaB?
He can play out in space. He has the ability to play out in space. He's a big guy, but a guy who can play in space and can cover guys. They have a very good understanding of that because of the position he plays. And all these other guys are very capable. I think between Preston and Ryan Anderson is probably the only question mark for guys who can cover. But overall, you have a solid group who are very smart. They get after it, and they are sure tacklers. Didn't show in this third preseason game, but guys like Marshall Spate, Zach Vigil, those guys who will come in and be a part of the rotation, those guys can make plays. They make sure tackle when guys are barreling up the middle or anywhere. Mason Foster roster has shown that he's led this team in tackles, right up there with Zach Brown. So you got a smart guy in Sean Dion Hamilton who's going to be learning how to be the signal caller in this league and for this team. He's an Alabama kid. So I think this linebacking core can get it done. And again, it's not just about the guys who are starting. It's the fact that they have complete personnel of guys who can be rotated in and that can provide Greg Minuski with that ability to cook up something in the kitchen and keep guys fresh. So I think this linebacking core is more than sufficient to get the job done, especially with the guys they have in the trenches up front and those guys rotating there. So very good core of guys just to show in that third preseason game. And I hate to say it's preseason, and I won't say that, but I wouldn't take too much. I wouldn't take too much. It's like they say, your best game isn't always a true testament of who you are, and neither is your worst game. You're always somewhere in between. So I think this team is better than what they showed, on Friday against the Broncos.
I truly hope so. I haven't been able to watch as closely as you. So, like I said, this was the first game I got to watch from beginning to end, and let's just say I was very disappointed in what I saw. But we mentioned the last game of the preseason is coming up this upcoming Thursday or Friday. I'm not even sure the way they switch it up nowadays. But against Baltimore, we're going to have I was wondering if Room was going to chime in because we're going to have a RG3 sighting for the upcoming week. He's playing with Baltimore, and he looked pretty good last week from the game that I saw the highlights out of. We know, like you say, the starters aren't really going to play. It's going to be some players that's going to be playing for a job or practice squad. What do you there's no game plan, going to be vanilla. What do you expect to see, and who do you think might shine in this last game to push them over the top to make this team?
We've got a couple. You can catch that article as well. But I tell you, there's a lot of guys offensively that I like. Cam Sims, I don't know if he'll play. He has a hit, but we'll see if he does. I think Sammy Cobbs Jr. is the guy that's going to get some time, and he's going to have an opportunity to see if he can push his way onto this roster. Nothing's ever set in stone. I don't believe he'll make the roster, the active roster, but there's always a possibility. You like to see Brian Quick, but Quick is also injured as well. He has a hip as well. So if he doesn't play, I think he's on the borderline of getting cut. My colleagues don't seem to think so because of his great blocking ability. But when you look at his body of work in 2017, he didn't get on the field very much due to injury, and then for whatever strange reason, Jay didn't put him out there because at the times he was out there when he was healthy. He did make plays. Now you got all this young talent. You got Trey Quinn, who I believe definitely makes this roster. And then you got guys like Cam Sims and Sammy Cobbs Jr. pushing for roster spots. A little tough to say he's going to be there, but we'll see. I want to see Jared Fernandez. I want to see if he can continue to upward trend. The guy, every time he's been in, has made some plays. And I'd like to see what he can do. They just signed a guy, JoJo Wicker. I'd like to see what he can do. I don't think he's going to have enough time. I mean, you're talking about one game to be able to push on this roster, and I don't think that's going to be enough. Even if he plays special teams, I don't think it's going to be enough. But it'll be interesting to see him play and see what he can do out there. Danny Johnson's hurt, I believe, or even if he is slightly injured, or I don't think he plays, I think he's automatically on this roster. He's done enough to secure his spot out there on the field. I'd like to see Troy Apke. I thought he had his something that will need to be done, and he will need to show that, and hopefully he can. That's a guy that I'd really like to see improve and show why he was picked where he was picked with the Redskins. Other than that, man, I honestly, I'm not 100% sure that there is some guy that could wow it so much that they are going to place him on the active roster. I think they pretty much have an idea of who's going to be on the active roster and who is actually going to be on the practice squad and who's not going to be here. So, other than those guys, I think the Redskins are pretty much set.
Yeah, I hope so, because like you said, at this point, it should only be maybe a couple of guys trying to figure out practice squad or, depth if they want to make the team. But I know I'm going to be definitely checking out the defensive line. I know Phil Taylor probably going to get some time. Settle's probably going to get some time. I know Taylor's trying to still come back from, almost 3 seasons out of the league because of injuries. And I think that they're going to have some of the young guys in there. I'm definitely going to be anxious to watch this defense because I was I wasn't happy with what I saw. Like you said, no game plan, trying not to get injured, everything that. But I'm thirsty for a 3-4 that's going to cause havoc like Pittsburgh. I was watching the Pittsburgh Titans preseason game, and even though it's preseason, those damn Pittsburgh linebackers and D linemen was everywhere. So that's what I want to see out of this Redskins team going forward. Everybody complains and gripes, talking about going back to the 4-3 and boom, boom, all this and all that. But I love the 3-4. We play a hybrid, like you always mentioned, DujunneaB. We do, more 4-man lines or Ryan with his hand down or pressing with his hand down. So it's a hybrid defense. But once you get those linebackers in that D line getting penetration and causing havoc and forcing that quarterback to throw the ball early or step up and getting hit as he's throwing the ball, that's going to turn into turnovers and flipping the field position and giving your offense a short field so they don't have to drive 80 yards every time they get a score. I believe a few years ago the Redskins led the NFL in turnover differential because the ball was just popping out and the Redskins were there to get it. Hopefully the team can have one of those seasons on the defensive side where, they're plus 15 in the turnover differential because, they're where they're supposed to be. The defense is hitting hard and causing the quarterback to have miscues, throw the ball early, throwing late, or trying to force the ball in, trying to avoid that pressure. So I'm definitely going to be anxious to see what this defense is going to look like. This team has been slept on by everybody as normal. They haven't given anybody a reason not to be slept on. So I'm definitely anxious to see what this team is going to bring in 2018.
Absolutely, man. I'm very interested, and I believe there's a lot to be desired there with this team. They are probably more talented than they ever been, especially on the defensive side of the ball. It's just going to be a matter of them putting it together. And as Jay said in his presser today, they have to start fast, and hopefully they can do that.
I agree. Hopefully they can, and they have the opportunity with the Colts week 1. I'm not going. We're going to go into our predictions. Say that again.
Arizona.
Oh, Arizona. I misread my stats again. Damn it, DujunneaB. I'm not. Like I told you, man, something just ain't right now. I don't know what it is right now. I'm watching the Nets. They're now tied at 2-2 with the Phillies. We did our Nets talk. Strasburg had a rough third inning, gave up 2 runs. The score is now tied. So I'm discombobulated as a Nats are tonight, DujunneaB. You got to pardon me tonight. But definitely with this team, I'm anxious to see, week 1, Arizona, as you rightfully pointed out. I want to see what this team can do. I mean, I'm happy with the Alex Smith pickup. I'm thinking it's definitely going to be improvement at the quarterback position with game management, turnover management, and breaking the pocket and running when you're supposed to and not standing like a deer in the headlights and getting the mess hit out of you. So I'm anxious to see what this offense is going to bring, and I'm anxious to see what this defense is going to be able to do to try to cause havoc on other teams' offense and make them adjust to the defense instead of the defense adjusting to the offense, because that's been going on for too long with this team, and I'm tired of seeing it, honestly. And I think it's time for a change in the drafts that we've had, and the things that this team is doing is definitely going to improve this defense. And I think they're definitely going to shock some teams this season. That since everybody's sleeping on them, thinking that they're not going to be that good, I think they're going to surprise some teams. I'm not predicting playoffs or nothing like that. We'll get into our prediction show probably next week after the last week of preseason. We might do Robbie's been encouraging us to do a prediction show like we always do. He said he's going to get his picks in. So if DujunneaB has time, we might do a pick show for our beginning of the season. We always see what our predictions are for the season, see how it plays out. So we'll probably get into predictions next week. If any other guys want to give y'all predictions, you can always chime in on the Facebook Live feed, on our page. You can inbox me, just let us know. We love predicting, we're on the record. We always say, no anonymous sources, no, reports from this person, that person. We're on the record. This is what we do. If we right, we're going to poke our chest out, pound on our chest, and talk about it. If we wrong, we say we wrong and keep it moving. That's how we do. But, DujunneaB, is anything else you want to wrap up about this team? Anything that you got on your chest, NFL-wise or NHRA-wise, or anything before we get ready to get up out of here?
I just say that it's going to be a very interesting season around the league, and as Redskins fans look at the Redskins and have their concerns, which is fully noted. If you look at these other teams in there, there are no guarantees, and they don't look as sharp as they should. And everybody's talking about, the Eagles are Super Bowl champs, and they look this, that, and the other, but they haven't looked that great either. No one has an idea of who's going to do what, whether their backup's going to be healthy. And we all know with championship squads, you just don't go into a season, you don't look some type of way in preseason, you don't look some type of way, and then come out and be like, let's turn on the switch and let's go after it. It just doesn't work that way. So to be overly concerned about what was seen on Friday night, I wouldn't, because every other team looks just like that. And maybe not to that degree, but at one point or another in preseason has looked that way. And, it's going to be a wide open deal. I think the NFL, outside of a few teams, is wide open. So it's going to be a very interesting and fun season to watch. And there's going to be some surprises this year. And I think the Redskins will be one of them.
I'm hoping so too. But before we get out of here on the Redskins talk, we got Brian Brennan patiently waiting in the lab in the lounge. He's a New York fan, and we might as well be talking NFC East. Might as well bring him in or talk about the big signing of Odell Beckham. I'll let him break down the terms of the deal, because I saw you put a post out about I guess some of the Giants fans were butthurt about his contract. So I know Redskins, we're used to that down here. So Brian, fill us in on how the feelings are about the Odell Beckham Jr. signing up there with your Giants.
So people are there's kind of a big reaction, I would say, on the Odell signing, which was for 5 years, $95 million, 65 of which is guaranteed. There are definitely some mixed feelings, I would say, on the Giants side. I fall into the category of, if the Giants were going to give him that money, another team would have given him that money. And I think that, when you've got a player like Odell Beckham, who is once in a lifetime, one of the best wide receivers you will ever see, you got to lock him up. You got to, even with all the issues and everything, he's Odell Beckham. He's one of the best in the game, and you got to give him his money. Otherwise, another team's going to go out there and give it to him. A lot of people just don't think Odell's worth it, or they can spend that money in other areas because Eli Manning's getting older. He could have drafted a quarterback this offseason. That's what people are. What I'm seeing, at least on social media. I think ultimately this is the right move for the Giants, locking up Odell Beckham. Because, like I said, the rumors were just not going to stop if they didn't get the deal done now. They would have gone throughout this whole season about whether Odell is going to get signed or not, traded, or go to another team. So good on the Giants now for getting done.
All right, appreciate that quick Giants info. It's very rare we want to talk about the Giants on the show, especially on the Facebook Live feed. But it's preseason, so it's breaking news. So figure we'll bring that up. So we got some more seasons of the Odell Beckham, Josh Norman rivalry going. So that's definitely going to be interesting going down the line. But Brian, let the folks know where they can find you before we get out of here tonight.
I work at SiriusXM on their soccer channel, SiriusXM. I produce the show The United States of Soccer with Jason Davis every day from 12 to 2 Eastern. Check it out. Follow U.S. soccer talk all around the United States while you got SiriusXM subscription.
All right, appreciate it. As always, that's when you can talk about the United over there. When Robbie come back, you can talk United all you want, but right now we're talking American football. But appreciate your time, Brian. Great for the baseball talk and the Giants inside information about the Odell Beckham signing. And we appreciate it as always, and we'll check you next week.
Sounds good, Carol. Thank you. And again, go Yankees.
Damn you. All right, Brian. I'll holler at you later on. You always got to get that in there, man. I got to start cutting them off before you get in there next time. All right, DujunneaB, before we wrap up this Facebook Live feed, let the folks know where they can find you at and what other articles you got coming out. I haven't had it. You've been putting out so many, I haven't had a chance to share them quick enough.
Yep, you can find us at SportsJourney.com. Yes, it is SportsJourney.com. As we made some changes, some much-needed changes, and we're happy to be able to unleash the fury, so to speak, and give you the kind of coverage the way we want and how we want for you, the Redskins fan and NFL fan. You can catch those articles there at SportsJourney.com. I have a few coming up. One that's just posted, the Redskins, 3 Keys to Victory, although it's not too important. There are some things that I'm sure you would like to see out of this team as they go into this last and final preseason game to try to get some momentum into week 1. You can always get at me, not laying 21 on everything. I do respond on Twitter and Facebook as quickly as I can. And yeah, it's going to be fun, man. One more week of preseason, and we get on to the regular season. And I know fans are excited.
All right, we appreciate it as always. I'll let you get out of here. I know you probably, like I said, working on some more articles and everything. I still got to go over the Mystics note because we went to the music break too soon. I never went over. So I'm going to go ahead and let you get out of here. I'm in this Facebook Live feed now.
Hey,
I appreciate it, good sir. I'll holler at you later on. And I'm about to end this Facebook Live feed now. I appreciate everybody tuning in and chiming in. As always, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Hail to the Redskins.